Listen, man, some people find secret facilities or they uncover like ancient, historic, like mastodon tusk and different things from prehistoric times that are worth millions and get lucky. You know what I found when I bought my house? That my AC unit was going out. I mean, it cost me money. Like, some people just, they get lucky with the finds, man. We're going to check out this video here. Man accidentally uncovered a secret facility. Let's check some of this stuff out in these finds and discoveries.
They say some of the best things in life are found when you're not even looking. It turns out this saying applies to history, too. From a historic discovery in a thrift store to a Roman villa discovered through Google Earth, here are 20 most amazing accidental historical discoveries. Number 20. Iron Age Fridge. In 2018, archaeologists stumbled upon a 2,000-year-old find while exploring the rugged and windswept Isle of Lewis in Scotland, a fridge that dates back to the Iron Age. However, it's probably not what you think it is. This discovery was unearthed during the construction of a modern home. The workers stumbled upon a stone-lined underground chamber, or a souterrain. The chamber, likely constructed around 350 BC, was built into the earth, taking advantage of the naturally cool, stable temperatures below ground. This would have made it an ideal storage space for perishable goods such as dairy and meat, at a time where there were no alternative ways to keep food fresh. The cool, constant environment would have helped prevent spoilage, allowing communities to store their provisions longer and manage their resources more effectively throughout the year. Archaeologists believe this souterrain was associated with a nearby roundhouse, a type of dwelling common in the region during the Iron Age.
Now tuck that little gem in your back pocket right there, bro. When I hear stuff like that, because listen, it doesn't take much for us to be back in those type of times. So knowing how to preserve your food and help yourself survive could go a long way. So just tuck that in your back pocket and keep it.
These structures were typically used not just for living, but also for communal activities. In this case, food storage was a critical aspect of survival in the harsh, unpredictable climate of the Outer Hebrides. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now. Number 19. $4 copy of the U.S. Declaration of Independence. In 1989, a Philadelphia man made what he thought was a simple $4 purchase at a flea market. An old, rather unimpressive painting housed in an ornate gilded frame. Nothing special. Little did he know that the painting had a rather unexpected surprise for him. He intended to discard the painting and repurpose the frame, but when he dismantled it, he discovered a piece of paper behind the canvas. Now, this paper wasn't anything he expected. It turned out to be a pristine copy of the Declaration of Independence, one of the original Dunlap broadsides printed on the night of July 4th, 1776. This document, known as the Dunlap broadside, was one of the first 200 copies ever printed. Hot off the press, as the ink was still drying, these broadsides were distributed up and down the colonies to spread the news of American independence far and wide. At the time of its discovery, only 24 Dunlap broadsides were known to exist. The man's find became the 25th, adding another piece to the very limited collection of American history. Initially, it was estimated to fetch around $1 million at auction, but it sold for much more, an eye-watering $2.42 million. But the value...
$4 to 2-point-something million dollars, man. Like, what's the percentage on that? Like, gosh. That makes me want to go to a thrift store right now.
The value of this piece of history appreciated over time because nearly a decade later, this piece of paper sold again for $7.4 million to TV producer Norman Lear, who then took the document on a 3.5-year tour across the United States. Now, this is the accidental find I'd want to experience. Imagine a $4 purchase turning into $2 million. Number 18. A woman's wallet found in movie theater bathroom that dates back to 1958. In 1958, Floyd Culberth went to the Plaza Theater in Atlanta, likely enjoying a night out with her husband, Roy. Little did she know that her wallet would slip through the cracks. Literally, 65 years later in 2023, her wallet would become a piece of history. That year, Floyd Culberth's wallet was discovered behind a bathroom wall during renovations at the historic theater. The wallet was discovered by contractors, and they couldn't believe its contents. The small wallet contained everything from black and white family photos to credit cards for local department stores long since closed, and even raffle tickets for a Chevrolet giveaway. All of these date back to the 1950s. The find was so well preserved that it vividly brought the past back to life for Floyd's family, who had been unaware of the wallet's existence. Even more incredible than the wallet was its owner. You see, Floyd was a beloved community figure, a founding member of the Atlanta chapter of United Cerebral Palsy, and an active volunteer who left a legacy of kindness and service. Her family, continuing her tradition of giving back, organizes an annual charity golf tournament known as the Culberth Cup, which has raised substantial funds for causes dear to her heart. Number 17. A board game leads to a $1.25 million discovery. Martin Johnson Head's Magnolias on Gold Velvet Cloth is a stunning example of 19th century American still life painting. It's believed to have been painted between 1888 and 1890, and the piece itself features 5 magnolia blossoms in various stages of bloom, carefully arranged against a luxurious gold velvet background. Head was born into a prosperous Pennsylvanian farming family, and early in his life, he developed a love for nature, which is apparent in his work. His career took him across Europe and the Americas, but it wasn't until he settled in Florida in 1883 that he found the stability to fully explore his artistic vision. The tropical flora of Florida, particularly the magnolia, inspired many of his late career masterpieces, including this piece. With that being said, Head's creations are highly valued in the art world, and so many are quite flabbergasted by this discovery. In 1999, an anonymous man in his 30s working at a tool and die company discovered that he had one of Head's pieces hanging on the wall in his home in Indiana. How he found that he had such a precious painting is quite unbelievable. He played a board game about art, a board game known as Masterpiece. Upon noticing that one of the paintings in the board game looked similar to the one he had hanging in his house, he quickly turned to the internet for more information. He found that Kennedy Galleries in Manhattan handled Head's work, so he sent them an email asking if the painting he had might be by the artist. After sending digital images of it to Kennedy, the painting was authenticated and was confirmed to be created by Head. In the end, the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston paid the man a staggering $1.25 million for the still life painting. Number 16. Retired couple finds one of the largest mammoth teeth ever. In 2019, while rearranging their garden in Devon, a retired couple made an unexpected discovery. Stephen and Stella Highshire stumbled upon what appeared to be a large weathered object next to a broken plant pot. They dismissed it as something unremarkable, and it wasn't until they attended a lecture at the Sidmouth Museum that they realized they had uncovered one of the largest mammoth teeth ever found in the United Kingdom.
Now see, they deserve that. Retired couple, you know what I mean? You done worked all your life, everything you come across that's how you sail off into the sunset right there.
This prehistoric treasure, weighing a hefty 12 pounds and measuring 15 inches in length, is believed to be a lower molar from a woolly mammoth, one of the largest of its kind. The tooth is believed to be over 10,000 years old, and it's worn down over time. This means this tooth might have been larger during the mammoth's life. The couple decided to turn over their find to the Sidmouth Museum, where it soon became a part of the collection. Number 15.
Hold on, whoa. Y'all said turned over? Like, did you just willingly give that away? No. People, know your worth. Get what you deserve. You hear all these people receiving millions. Don't just give it away.
3,200-year-old sword. In 2019, archaeologists working on the Spanish island of Majorca, also known as Majorca, accidentally stumbled upon a 3,200-year-old sword, making it one of the few weapons from the Bronze Age found on the island. The sword was discovered embedded in a rock at a site that was being prepared for a museum. When the team began to clear away debris, they were shocked to uncover this ancient artifact, which had somehow survived the ravages of time. However, this sword wasn't buried accidentally. Rather than accidentally ending up underground, the sword was carefully buried as part of a ritual offering by what researchers believe is the ancient Taliadic civilization. You see, we know little about these people to this day, These megalith builders were known for their impressive stone structures, but little is understood about their daily lives or spiritual practices. Why would they bury a sword? What is the significance? Researchers are still trying to find out the answer to this day. Number 14. Gemstone Miners stumble upon a fossil of an ancient sea monster. Deep in the heart of Alberta, Canada, gemstone miners were on a routine mission, digging through the earth in search of ammonite, a rare and vibrant gemstone born from the fossilized shells of ancient marine mollusks. But instead of just uncovering precious stones, they unearthed a nearly complete fossil of Tylosaurus, a colossal sea monster that once ruled the ancient seas 70 million years ago. This particular specimen, stretching between 20 to 23 feet long, was found remarkably intact, with its powerful jaws and elongated body perfectly preserved in the soft black shale. The Tylosaurus is known as the T-Rex of the seas. It was an apex predator during the late Cretaceous period, dominating the western interior seaway that once split North America in two. The Tylosaurus wasn't just any marine reptile. It was a mosasaur, a group of fearsome marine lizards that could grow to more than 50 feet in length, making it one of the top predators of its time. The Tylosaurus had a body built for hunting, with heavily muscled limbs that had evolved into paddle-like flippers and a long, robust tail that helped it swiftly navigate the waters. Its mouth was lined with rows of conical teeth, perfect for gripping and holding onto its prey, which included anything it could overpower, from large fish to other marine reptiles. Once this predator locked its jaws onto its target, escape was nearly impossible. Can you imagine how monstrous these creatures would be in today's oceans? Number 13. Scientists accidentally discover Australian marsupials with bioluminescent fur. In 2020, scientists made an accidental discovery in Australia. It all began when researchers, curious about the biofluorescence of the platypus, decided to test other Australian mammals under ultraviolet light. It turns out that this trait isn't confined to platypuses alone. Wombats, along with other marsupials like the echidna and Tasmanian devil, also have fur that lights up after exposure to UV light. Now, what exactly is biofluorescence? This occurs when an organism absorbs light at one wavelength and then re-emits it at a visible wavelength. In the case of the wombat, this means their fur absorbs UV light and emits it as a greenish glow that's visible in the dark. While biofluorescence is well known in some marine creatures and insects, its occurrence in mammals is a relatively recent discovery. It was first noticed in the platypus and is now seen in other marsupials. However,
it also sounds like they got into some type of chemical, and what we're witnessing and seeing is a reaction. That's what it sounds like to me. Either way, I don't even want to be nowhere close to it.
The exact purpose of this glowing trait remains a mystery. Number 12. Hundreds of rare Roman pots. In 2010, a British research ship on a mission to explore modern wrecks off the coast of Italy stumbled upon hundreds of rare Roman pots, or amphorae, resting undisturbed on the seabed. This unexpected discovery was made while the crew used remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, to scour the depths for radioactive materials. Instead, they found themselves unearthing the remains of an ancient Roman cargo ship that had been lying nearly 1,640 feet below the surface for over 2,000 years. The Roman ship, believed to have sunk between the 1st and 2nd centuries BCE, was discovered off the coast of Civitavecchia, a port city near Rome. Strangely, much of its cargo of amphorae, large pottery vessels used for transporting goods like wine and olive oil, were still sealed and intact. Upon realizing the significance of their discovery, the crew worked tirelessly to carefully recover several of the amphorae, ensuring that these ancient relics were brought to the surface without damage. The artifacts were then handed over to a museum in the historic city of Paestum, where they were studied and displayed. Number 11. Young boy discovers 11 dinosaur eggs. In 2019, a young science enthusiast named Zhang Yangjie stumbled upon a nest of fossilized dinosaur eggs while playing along the Dongjiang River in Huiyan, China.
Please tell me he put them in an incinerator. Please tell me he destroyed them or something. He did something to destroy them. I hope they're no longer around. Or if they're in a scientist's lab, we're in trouble, y'all.
It just so happened that the 10-year-old boy had a keen interest in paleontology, which made his discovery all the more astounding. In fact, His curiosity was the main reason he even noticed the fossils embedded in the soil. Upon further investigation by experts, 10 more eggs were unearthed, all dating back to the late Cretaceous period, around 66 million years ago. Huiyuan, often referred to as China's home of dinosaurs, has been a hotspot for such discoveries, with over 17,000 dinosaur eggs unearthed since 1996. However, this accidental find is definitively among the most significant. For the 10-year-old boy, this discovery would forever inspire him to pursue his passion. Number 10. A parasite egg that spreads deadly diseases. Around 6,200 years ago, an unsuspecting group of farmers in what is now Syria might have triggered one of the earliest known human-induced public health crises, completely by accident. How did we find out? It's quite impressive, really. It all began with a tiny egg, no larger than a grain of sand, that researchers accidentally plucked from the pelvic area of a child's grave in Tel Zaydan, a prehistoric settlement by the Euphrates River. This egg belonged to schistosoma, a parasitic worm that causes schistosomiasis, a disease that still plagues millions of people today. This discovery might not seem groundbreaking, but it reveals a dark mark in human history. Early farmers in this part of Syria were pioneers of irrigation, an innovation that allowed them to flourish in the arid lands of Mesopotamia. They channeled water from rivers to nourish their crops, transforming their environment to sustain growing populations. However, this technological breakthrough also had an unintended consequence. It created ideal conditions for the schistostome parasite to thrive. You see, schistostoma larvae live in fresh water and rely on snails as their immediate hosts. The introduction of extensive irrigation systems meant more standing water, which was perfect for these snails. As a result, the parasite found a new way to spread by hitching a ride on unsuspecting humans who waded through these waters. Once the larvae made contact with a human host, they burrowed into the skin, making their way into the bodies of early Mesopotamian settlers, where they matured and reproduced, causing a disease that could lead to pain, anemia, and even cancer. Now, this egg discovered in the ancient grave is the oldest known evidence of schistosomiasis, and it pushed back the timeline for when humans first began to grapple with this disease. While irrigation in this settlement led to the advancement of an entire group of people, it also accidentally led to a disease that still affects over 200 million people worldwide to this day. I guess there are just some things in history that were meant to happen. Number 9. Scrap metal turns out to be $33 million egg. There are lucky people, and then there are lucky people who make a multi-million-dollar profit from a random purchase. A man from the Midwest purchased a small golden egg at a flea market for about $14,000.
All right, who's ready to take me? Somebody at least take me. I'm ready to go at this point. You know what I mean? What is it? Thrifting? We can do thrifting, or we can just hit up the local flea markets. Whatever it was called, I'm about ready to do, bro. 33 million, 1 million, 2 million. You hearing people make, and I know these discoveries are rare, but hey, you ain't trying. If you ain't trying, it ain't gonna happen for you. So at this point, I'm ready to go. Who down? Let's do it.
Now that's not cheap, but he took a gamble and trusted his gut that he could sell the item for a higher price. The man intended to make a profit from the small golden egg by selling it for its scrap metal value. However, multiple scrap dealers turned him away, saying it wasn't worth much more than a few $100s. The man thought he had made a losing purchase, but in the end, it turned out that the scrap dealers who turned him away actually missed their chance to make the best purchase of their life. Losing hope, the man decided to study the egg further late one night. Upon entering the words egg and Vatrin Constantine, a name engraved on a clock inside the ornament, into Google, he found exactly what he had in his hands. He had one of the long-lost Fabergé Imperial Easter eggs, specifically the third Imperial egg, crafted by the famous jeweler Fabergé for the Russian royal family in the 19th century. This egg, thought to have been lost forever, was worth an estimated $33 million. The man contacted Kieran McCarthy, a Fabergé expert, who confirmed the egg's authenticity. What was nearly melted down for scrap was instead recognized as a priceless artifact, the holy grail of art. Now this is definitely one lucky find. Number 8. Woman out for a walk discovers silver coins. In May this year, A woman made an astonishing discovery while out for a casual walk in the countryside of Kutna Hora in the Czech Republic. She unexpectedly stumbled upon over 2,150 silver coins dating back to the 11th and 12th centuries, a time of intense political strife in medieval Bohemia. These coins, known as denarii, were likely minted under the reigns of King Vratislav II and his successors Jetislav II and Boživoj II. At the time, the reign was rife with conflict as rival factions vied for the throne and sought to take control of it. It's likely that these coins were buried during this period of unrest, either as a form of emergency savings or as a stash of war spoils. The coins themselves are a mix of silver with traces of copper and lead, which researchers believe can help pinpoint the origins of the silver used. The coins are currently being studied and preserved by experts who plan to display them at the Czech Museum of Silver in Kutna Hora. Number 7. Woman stumbles upon hardest animal to find in Australia. Australia is a country rich in wildlife and biodiversity. Scientists estimate that the land down under probably had between 200,000 and 300,000 species, about 100,000 of which have been described. Now, among those species is one that's quite elusive, the white southern marsupial mole. You see, only about 5 people are fortunate enough to see a marsupial mole, not each year, but each decade. And so, when a woman stumbled upon this creature in Australia, she knew it was her lucky day. The woman, named Marin, was driving on the edge of an outback highway when she decided to stop to appreciate the stunning landscape. She knew she couldn't linger long, as the area had many marauding feral camels. She was taking a video when she stumbled upon a creature ferociously digging into the ground, the marsupial mole. You see, these creatures are quite hard to find, so much so that people who dedicate their lives to finding these creatures don't live long enough to achieve their goal. Why exactly are these creatures so elusive? Well, it's because there aren't big populations of them to begin with, and they spend most of their life underground. And so if you ever stumble upon this creature in the wild, consider yourself lucky. Number 6. The statue. In 2023, a routine construction project at Burghley House, a historic estate in Lincolnshire, England, led to a rather astounding discovery: a nearly 2,000-year-old Roman statue. This find was unearthed by a construction worker named Greg Crawley. Crawley was operating a digger when he hit something hard. He thought it was nothing but a large stone. However, as he examined it more closely, he was stunned to discover the carved marble head of a Roman woman. The statue, which dates back to the 1st or 2nd century CE, was found in 2 parts. The head, uncovered first, was followed a few weeks later by the discovery of the woman's shoulders nearby. Experts believe that the head had been fitted with an iron dowel in the 18th century to attach it to a newer bust or pedestal, a common practice among Italian dealers catering to European aristocrats at the time. Unfortunately, we don't know much about this statue, where it's from, who made it, or how it ended up under a parking lot at Burghley House. Some theories suggest it might have been discarded or forgotten over the centuries, while others propose that it could have been the target of a failed burglary attempt. Despite the uncertainty surrounding its burial, the statue has been cleaned and restored and is on display among other historical artifacts within Burghley House. Number 5. Utility workers stumble upon Grizzly Graves. Workers laying down pipes for a Thames water project had a rather grim discovery in Oxfordshire, England. While working, they unearthed 26 skeletons dating back nearly 3,000 years to the Iron Age. The graves contain men, women, and possibly victims of ritual sacrifice. The site, now identified as Childrey Warren, allegedly contains deviant burials, graves that belong to individuals who have been subjected to rituals or sent to death in unconventional ways. Further analysis of the remains and artifacts, which include pottery, flint tools, and animal bones, will help researchers piece together more about the lives and deaths of these ancient people. Number 4. 1,000-year-old church. In a recent archaeological discovery along the HS2 route in Stoke Mandeville, England, a team of over 40 archaeologists uncovered the remains of a 1,000-year-old Anglo-Saxon church hidden beneath the foundations of the Norman-era St. Mary's Church. The discovery dates back to around 1080 AD, and yet it's relatively well preserved. The excavation revealed flint walls forming a small square structure with a circular boundary ditch, suggesting it was once a tall, though modestly sized church. This discovery is particularly rare because while many Norman churches were built on top of Saxon ruins, few have survived in a state that allows for detailed archaeological study. Number 3. 70-million-year-old dinosaur fossil in France. In May 2022, Damien Bichetto, a 25-year-old amateur fossil enthusiast, made his breakthrough, an incredibly impressive one. What made this discovery incredible isn't just the find itself, but also how Damien stumbled upon it. You see, he didn't actively search for his fossil. Rather, he found it while walking his dog Muffin in the forests of southern France. He initially noticed some bones exposed by a landslide on the edge of a cliff. Knowing dinosaurs, he quickly realized what he had just stumbled upon: fossils. He quickly contacted the Archaeological and Paleontological Cultural Association at the Cruzy Museum. Together, they embarked on a 2-year-long secret excavation to protect the site from looters. Their hard work paid off as they unearthed a nearly complete 30-foot-long skeleton of a titanosaur, a massive herbivorous dinosaur known for its long neck and tail. The fossil was later transported to the Cruzy Museum, where it was studied and prepared for public display. Number 2. Earliest known evidence of surgery. Archaeologists have uncovered a groundbreaking discovery in a remote cave in Borneo, a 31,000-year-old skeleton missing its lower left leg. This sounds like an ordinary discovery, but it's actually a significant find, the earliest known evidence of successful surgery. This ancient individual, likely a young male, had undergone a complex amputation of the lower leg during childhood and remarkably survived for several years after the procedure. Despite the fact that the surgery was performed 31,000 years ago, the operation showed no signs of infection or any complications.
So they were good. No infection, no nothing. You know what I mean? No state-of-the-art facility. These jokers were good back then. All they used to tell us they gave them was like a shot of liquor. Say, hold on, bro, as they get to cutting. But nah, it's probably more to it. And I want to find a video that goes in depth based on findings of what they found of how they performed surgical procedures back then. I think that'll be super, super interesting to watch.
Means that despite the lack of sophisticated modern tools and medicine, people from thousands of years ago somehow managed to perform a sensitive medical procedure. The find pushes back the timeline for advanced medical practices by tens of thousands of years, predating other known amputations by 24,000 years. And now it's time.
See, bro, that's my issue with the history books, but I ain't gonna say nothing though, man. I ain't gonna say, I'm just mad at my teachers back then for giving me bad grades when the history books was wrong anyway. So I want my grades changed.
Time for today's topic. While renovating his home, a man accidentally unearthed an entrance to a secret facility buried beneath his house. Yes, this man accidentally uncovered a secret facility that reveals our biggest fear. Now, people have created tunnels since ancient history, and they all have different uses. Most were used as hiding places or discreet passages from one place to another. However, the tunnels this man discovered are said to be linked to secret organizations and hidden operations. Given the bizarre contraptions and paraphernalia discovered inside, many are convinced that the tunnels were designed to keep sensitive activities concealed from public knowledge. Could this tunnel really be associated with a secret organization conducting questionable activities? Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Number 1. A Roman villa discovered through Google Earth. Archaeology isn't always so complicated. In fact, this incredible Roman-era villa in the United Kingdom was discovered through the open-access platform Google Earth. This means that if you have a clue where to look or are lucky enough, you might just find an unexplored ancient ruin. Now, this Roman-era villa was found in Kent, England, and it dates back a staggering 1,700 years. It was discovered by members of the Kent Archaeological Society while scanning satellite images of farmland near Trosley, Kent, as part of the Trosley Heritage Project. They noticed unusual linear crop marks that stood out against the landscape. These markings meant that there was something man-made beneath the surface. An excavation revealed that this villa was an elaborate structure, complete with a hypocaust system, one of the greatest marvels of Roman engineering. This system was how people warmed the villa's floors during chilly British winters. This heating system worked by heating air over a central fire, which circulated beneath the floors through a series of pillars known as pili. This heated air would rise into the rooms above, providing warmth in a method that's quite similar to modern underfloor heating. This heating system tells us that the people who once lived in this villa were most likely people from the higher echelons of Roman society. And while Roman villas are not uncommon in the UK, the survival of a hypocaust system is unusual, particularly one in such good condition. Well, which of these accidental discoveries surprised you the most?